Hello everyone. Today is very exciting because we're going to be stippling. We're going to be using a different brush. It's called a deerfoot stippler, and you stipple with it. So it's going to give us some lovely textures. I just want to show you on this little scrap first. I've put it in the paint. If the brush is very wet and I stipple, we'll get lovely wet blobs. If there's slightly less in my brush, so squeeze the brush out and you'll see there's a lot of liquid in this brush. Take a little more of the paint so it's not as wet. Now I've got a completely different texture. So the wetter the brush, the more looser blobby textures we'll get. The drier the brush, the smaller little blobs we'll get. So we use this texture as perhaps a base, and then when that's dry, we can put the detail of the smaller texture on the top. So those are the techniques we're going to use on this painting. It's ever so simple. And we're going to use the pointer brush again. So 2 brushes, verbena. Is it verbena? No, it's zinnia. Do you know, I'm useless with flowers. I think it's even salvia. But it's purple, grows in my garden, and it's almost over. So we're going to use 2 colours. We're going to use shadow and autumn gold. Now this might seem really odd, but this lovely subtle colour uses the autumn gold with the shadow. Now, if I just put a little in here, now remember we don't want too much liquid on the brush, and I'm going to start, if I look at the shapes, they're lovely and textured. We don't want to do all this tiny little detail. You can use a brush and do all the detail, but this is the easy way. So I'm going to barely touch the paper with the deerfoot stippler. Barely touch, and then press a little bit firmer. Lovely. Let's make that a little bit taller. Barely touch it so you get these lovely little tiny bits. When it comes to about here, I'm going to get some more into the paint, tiny bit. This is really strong. Oh, lovely, look at that. This is now looking like it's in front of those other flowers in the background. Let's put another one in here. It doesn't matter if we cover up what's behind, but these are going to look like they're in the foreground. Now I'm going to leave a little gap because you see we've got some where the stalk is showing. It's still nice and wet. This is lovely and wet. Then we get our pointer brush into the same colour with a touch of autumn gold. So it's just going to make it slightly warmer. So we'll put a little stem. If I look, the stems kind of run all the way down the centre. You can see little bits of them. A little bit here. How easy is this? So we've got this lovely feel of these flowers in the garden. Let's do another one here. So barely touch the paper. Just a tiny bit, look. Just a tiny bit. And then we'll start to press a little bit more. So this is stippling, and it's just a lovely way of creating texture on the page without spending ages doing lots of little dots. Our other alternative, of course, like we did when we did these, the little verbena, they were verbena, is we did little dots like this, didn't we? Tiny little dots like this, but they will look different. So if I draw little dots on, that looks quite different from the rest. I'm going to splash a little bit as well. Let's do a little bit of flicky. So that is looking really lovely. Now let's get a little bit more of that stalk colour. So we've got another one in here. We'll just put another little stalk in here. Let's just get a little bit of water on our brush. Just water, not too much. We'll just fade that out at the bottom here. I don't want a line of stalks. I want to give the impression that perhaps they're coming out from more foliage at the bottom. I don't want them to look like sticks at the bottom of my painting. I hope you can see this. So I'm just going to soften the feel of this so that now it looks like they're all growing. So when I look at that again, just very quickly now, almost dry now. And if you're not sure, put it on your tissue to get most of the liquid out. And then you can put a little bit of detail on the top. So if you wanted to put a little bit more on, I like this. This is lovely. I'm going to leave that. You can add a little bit more. So we've introduced our stippler brush, a Deerfoot stippler. So up till now, the 3 brushes we've used, so the 2 brushes have been the number 10 round and a pointer brush. And this is the Deerfoot stippler. Now this is a brand new one, never been used. So this is what it looks like when you get it. This is what it looks like once you've used it. And this is just lovely now. I've worked it in and it stipples beautifully. So this is what they look like as opposed to this. However, once you've wet them, they'll splay out and they're absolutely beautiful. We'll be doing lots of techniques. We'll be using this to do some landscape techniques as well as flowers. But this is a very easy approach for you. So use your stippling brush, get something out the garden that's very simple shapes and have a go.